There comes a point where you start noticing the pattern. You put in the hours, you try to do everything the right way. You jump into new ideas, new projects, even new industries, yet every year ends up looking strangely similar to the last. And you convince yourself that the next attempt is going to be the one that finally breaks the cycle. And now for a quick disclaimer, the information in this video is for educational purposes only and does not constitute financial, legal, or tax advice. Buying a business involves risk and results are never guaranteed. Always perform your own due diligence and consult with licensed professionals before making any financial decisions. Rick and Rick.Blueprint are not responsible for any actions you take based on this content. Back to the show. But deep down, it feels like you're stuck in a game that keeps changing the rules the moment you make progress. If that hits home, nothing is wrong with you. You've just been using the wrong systems. Right now, in America, the odds are brutally against anyone trying to build a business from zero. Nobody online will tell you that because it doesn't make good content, but it is the truth. National data makes it obvious. 20% of new businesses collapse within the first year. Half are gone by year 5 and only a third survive long enough to be called stable. And when you dig into why, you see it clearly. Most people who are starting a business are not building something durable. They are gambling. Gambling their time, savings, and confidence, trying to turn an idea into stability with no proven demand behind it. That is the hardest path you could choose. Most people do not realize they're picking it by default, but there is another path, a safer one, a proven one. A path where the odds flip completely. Instead of creating a new business from scratch, you buy one that already works. A business with real customers, real revenue, real staff, real systems. A business that has weathered years of life. When you step into something like that, everything changes. You're not betting on potential, you're taking over a track record. This isn't theory, it's backed by actual data. More than 50% of people who intend to buy a business end up succeeding. And acquisitions generate average annual returns around 35% before taxes. That is the complete opposite of startup failure rates. This is why buying businesses has become one of the safest and most reliable wealth paths in America. Not for people with massive funding and not for tech geniuses, but for normal, everyday people who want something predictable. People who want income that doesn't tank every time life gets busy. People who want ownership without chaos. People who want a business they can rely on. And here's the part most people get wrong. Buying a business is not for people with huge savings or decades of experience. Right now, there is a wave of business owners retiring. Boomers who don't want to shut their doors. They want someone to take over what they've taken so much time to build. They're willing to finance part of the deal. They want the transition to go smoothly and their legacy to continue in the hands of someone who cares. This is why seller financing is so common and why SBA lending exists. This is why so many people step into good businesses with far less money than ever expected. Sometimes even nothing up front. Not because they're special, but because the system is built to make deals happen. So why do most people never take this path? It's not complexity, it's unfamiliarity. Most people never learned how to evaluate a business. They never learned what to look for in the numbers or how to find the right deals. They never learned how financing works. They never learned how to step in as the owner without becoming the operator. When something is unfamiliar, it feels risky. That's human nature. Once you understand the steps, the fear disappears. You learn how to spot a good business. You learn the red flags. You learn how to verify the numbers so you aren't guessing anymore. You learn how to structure financing so you aren't taking the risk up front. You learn how to take over with a manager in place so you don't get trapped inside the day-to-day. And that, my friends, is when everything shifts. You stop guessing. You start moving with clarity. I remember my first acquisition, a smoothie shop. I had zero experience in the food industry. What I did have was a process to follow and numbers that made sense. That one decision changed the entire trajectory of my life. The stability, the confidence, the feeling of owning something that actually works, the ability to improve it instead of building from nothing. Everything all of a sudden became simpler. I now make 40 grand a month from that business alone while only working a couple hours a week on it, because I took that initial step. Once you feel that, you understand why this path works and you stop trying to outrun instability. You step into something proven. You build on top of a foundation that already exists. And for the first time in a long time, you move forward without constantly starting over. Now take a second and think about your personal situation. Maybe you tried starting a business and it never took off. Maybe you bounce between opportunities hoping one would stick. Maybe you run a business right now, but it feels like a job you can't escape. Or maybe you're in a 9-to-5 and everything you have tried outside of it feels risky. Buying a business solves all of those situations because it gives you the one one thing none of those paths ever gave you: predictability, a real asset, consistent cash flow, and clarity, a structure that doesn't require you to sacrifice your entire life. Most people want the same things: more time, more income, more options, more stability, more breathing room. You don't get that by constantly resetting to zero. You get it by owning something that already works. If you want to see what this path would look like for your life specifically, you can book a call through the link below. There is no pitch, no pressure situation. We look exactly where you are: your finances, your background, your goals, your risk level, and the types of businesses that will be the safest fit for you. Whether you're ready now or ready later, you will walk away knowing your next step with absolute clarity, guaranteed. Now, before we wrap up, let's do something together and close your eyes. Imagine this for a sec. 6 months from now, you walk into a business you own. Not an idea, not a dream, a real business with customers buying products every single day. Staff who know exactly what to do, systems running in the background without you, profit hitting your account every single month. Your life becomes calmer, more steady, and more predictable. You finally feel secure. That is what ownership gives you. If you want that life, the call is the first step. The link is below, and I will see you there. Thank you so much.